What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to another looking back video where we take a look at the game that we played previously on the channel, about 5 hours of, and then we give our impressions on the game. Now, it's not necessarily going to be a review per se, because I don't give out numerical values at the end of this video. It's only like my personal opinion. I give you the pros, the cons, and a should you buy option. So we're going to be talking about Reverie Sweet As Edition. Now, Reverie was a game that was previously released on other platforms. Now, we just made it to the Switch, and I had the opportunity to review the Switch version. Full disclosure, I got the Switch version for free from the devs, and as always, I don't let that color my judgment on a title. If I like it, I'll say it. If I don't like it, I'll say it, and you know, you take that if you want to or not, and you can make your own decision based on, you know, what I say, what I have to say. Reverie Sweet As Edition, we're going to start with what I usually like to start, which is the price, and also the like a short description of the game. You guys can probably have a rough idea of what the game is like just by looking behind me at the gameplay footage that we've played. Like it's pretty much like a Zelda-like game. But yeah, so here's the price. The price is about well, it's 13 bucks Canadian, so probably I'm gonna say $9.99 American, most likely, or $10.99. Very cheap game, really inexpensive. The description goes as follows: Reverie is an action-adventure game set on a fictional island in New Zealand, inspired by the legend of Maui and the giant fish, where the demigod himself fishes up the North Island with a powerful fish hook. So what I like mostly about this game, honestly, is the fact that it is not your typical Zelda-like adventure. It's not like a fantasy world. It's very much this world, just like with tiny little bits of fantasy elements thrown in, and then you get this game. I had massive amount of fun with it. Like it's a really cool Zelda-like game, especially if you're itching for like a Zelda, like a 2D Zelda adventure, and you know, you've played all the other ones. This one is, you know, it's a fine addition to that kind of genre. And yeah, overall, I really liked it. Now we're gonna talk about the pros and the cons. For the pros, extremely charming visual. As you guys can see, like it's super duper cute. You know, like it's like I said, it harkens back to the older Zeldas, you know, principally A Link to the Past. It looks very much like A Link to the Past. And yeah, it's very good. And very cool looking, and very like almost like end drawn. Like it's pretty nice. And then it is also in very easy to follow progression in the game, exactly like an old Zelda game where you would, you know, pop up your menu, and then you would see like how many medallions you've picked up, or you know, all that kind of stuff. And this game is the same, except that you're picking up fish hooks. So you have like this thing, and then it says like how many fish hooks you've collected, and you see them like placed almost like I said, like almost like the medallions in the Zelda game. And you know, like, you know, how many more, you know, big dungeons you have to go through, or what else you got to pick up to complete your basically your like chart of what you have to do. And the map is really cool. Like the map is pretty freaking huge, and it's very nicely separated into different sections, and each section of the map is very unlike the others. So you don't get like in a situation where, have I been here? Like, where am I going? What is this area? Like, you know where you're at. And I really do enjoy that. Also, it has that feature that you will find in A Link to the Past and stuff like that, where if you are looking, you know, to find a dungeon, or to find where you have to go next, it'll ping on the map where it is. Now, it might be shrouded in clouds because you've never been to that area before, but at least you have a general idea of where that is, and then you can just like, you know, pick a path and try to reach that point to eventually reach the dungeon. Well, unlock the dungeon and reach it, and you know, get into it, and then kill the boss, and so on and so forth. The items are pretty cool. You don't get a swords like in other you know, fantasy games. You're actually fighting with a cricket bat. And you have like a bunch of other items, like you have a scuba gear to be able to swim. You have a like a dart gun to be able to shoot things from a distance. You have a yo-yo, and yeah, so it's unlike what you usually get in a game, but all of these items harken back to other items you would have gotten in a typical like Zelda-like game. It's just, you know, there are different skins, different names and stuff, but mostly it's the same kind of deal. And as you can see right now, what I'm trying to do on the screen behind me is I'm trying to do one of the puzzles in the game. And the game has tons of puzzles, like lots of stuff to figure out in dungeons. And the more, you know, the deeper you go in dungeons, the harder it gets. And it gets stupid hard. Like hard to the point where like me and chat, like the chat watching the stream, we're just like trying to figure them out and just like, you know, throwing ideas and seeing like if one is going to stick and seeing like are we going to be able to progress anymore, because sometimes I got legit stuck. Like I got stuck for a long time because I just couldn't progress anymore because of, you know, the difficulty of the puzzles. Like they're really hard. Like you really have to think about what you're doing, and you have to be pretty familiar with the game mechanics and the you know, how the game would function with switch and pressure plates and blocks and how every single of your item work as well. And so to give you like really like a good idea of how to, you know, figure out a puzzle and how to beat it. It's really cool, and it to me it's a pro. Like I freaking love difficulty in my games, and this was incredibly difficult. I really had to rack my brain, and to me personally it's a pro. Now might become a con, so I'm listing it as a con as well for people that are, you know, they like a challenge, but like they don't want to be stuck at points and try like being so stuck that you really have to like, you know, take a breath and just like step back and try to figure out like what you might have missed, or go back into previous rooms and stuff like that and see like maybe there's a different path I should have taken that might have given me an item that would have allowed me to complete this or whatever. So some people don't like that. Some people like to, you know, they like to be challenged, but you know, they like to move on like 5 minutes in. They don't want to be challenged for like 15 minutes trying to figure out like a puzzle solution. So I'm listing it as a con, but also as a pro. For me, it was a pro. For most people, probably will be a con. The collectibles in the game and the mini games are pretty cool as well. So essentially, you have a collectible thing in this game where you have to collect feathers. So we're trying to find bird feathers in the game. It's pretty humorous. You get like a bunch of different characters and stuff, and they mostly will give you like side quests and things, and if you complete them, most likely they're going to try and give you a feather. Now once you have all the feathers, it unlocks a new item that your grandmother can craft called the cloak of, I forgot, the cloak of something, and it gives like another boost to your character and stuff. And it's just like a good reason to try and figure out like every nook and cranny in the world map, but also complete all the side quests for all the characters to try and get all those neat feathers and stuff. There's also even like a mini game. There's a mini game, like there's an arcade like shop, like an arcade place, like in the mini town that you are in when you start the game, and there's a mini game there, like a bullet hell type of mini game with like your little ship, and you're like shooting aliens that are shooting back at you and stuff, and it's really fun. Like I had fun playing it. Like people were like, you know, really digging it, and that's just like a side thing. It's not even like the main game, and it was kind of fun. So yeah, so you know, it's cool. The game is like filled with little extra tidbits and extra things that are, you know, kind of nice to explore and figure out and find. The world is really cool. I talked a little bit about it before, but like the overall, like the way the world is built is really freaking awesome. You get like the world map, everything is connected, and you can already see like places that, oh shit, like I can't swim right now. Probably later on in the game I'll be able to swim and I'll be able to come back here and you know, go that way. I can't right now, but I know I will later. And there, you know, even the dungeons are really cool. Like the first dungeon I think is like on the top of a tree. There's another one like the one I'm in right now, which is really cool. It's like you help this little girl build a sandcastle, and once you're done, it's not like a tiny sandcastle. It's a freaking huge sandcastle. Like it's freaking massive. Like and she's like, whew, well, that was hard. All right, I'm going back to my parents. And then she just leaves you there, this massive castle, and then you go into it, and then it's the dungeon. Like, it's just, like, I don't know, man. It's so, like cheeky and fun, and just, like, there's so many cool things about this game, honestly, that, you know, it's like a total package. It's really nice. Really well crafted. Now again, the story is not your typical fantasy fare, and what I really enjoy, it's steeped in New Zealand, you know, like lore and history, and and just like you know, the whole thing about the Maui and the angry spirits and all that stuff. Like, it's really really nice. I'm a big fan of a movie like I really like the Pixar movie. Shit, it's escaping me, but the one with Maui and you know, the shit. What's the name? Hold on, guys. I'm gonna figure this out. Probably Chow will be able to tell me, but it's not even a Pixar movie. I think it's a Disney movie. Shoot, I have a huge blank right now. I can't figure it out. Whatever. You probably know what I mean. The one that takes place like on boats and stuff. So yeah. So I'm a huge fan of that movie. Really really cool, and it just, I had more of that feeling whilst playing this game, and it was just like a lot of fun. Now for the cons, there are very few cons. I already talked about the hard puzzle. There's another part though that I didn't mention, is the dungeons are sometimes long, sometimes short, depending on, you know, which dungeon you're doing, but also unfortunately the bosses and mini bosses are extremely easy. Like, extremely easy. I could figure them out very easily every time, and I could beat them, you know, without so much as breaking a sweat. I don't know if it's because I'm getting good at these type of games, or it's just because they're super easy, but to me it felt like way too easy. I didn't get a challenge there at all. Like, no bosses, or almost no bosses, I had to retry even twice. Like, I could do them first time, every single one of them, and most of them without even like losing too much health. Like, just super easy, which is you know, it's kind of sad, because like the rest of the game is so good, and you want the same kind of I don't know, the same kind of difficulty as you had in the puzzles for a specific dungeon. You're kind of hoping that the boss at the end is going to be like pretty hard and provide a challenge and stuff, but unfortunately it's not the case. Bosses are really easy, and also the game is pretty short. You only have like 5 dungeons to complete, and then you're basically done. Obviously you have to, you know, find all the feathers if you want to, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can collect and things, but like overall I felt like the game was pretty short. Like, I basically almost beat it in like a 4-hour period. I almost beat the game. So it's really not like a super long game, but I mean, for the price point, like, it's not really a deterrent either. Like, it's pretty cheap, so you're kind of expecting to not have that many difficulties. What I do enjoy though, I talked about the bosses, but what I do enjoy is that bosses and even dungeons will make use of all the items you find. It's not one of those situations where you get into a dungeon, you just got, I don't know, the grappling hook from like a Zelda game, and then the dungeon is basically just everything in the dungeon has to do with the grappling hook. In this game, it's really like, I had to switch so many times between like the different items and stuff, the different, you know, tools that I had to try and complete puzzles and do stuff, because it was so incredibly hard, and every single dungeon makes use of everything you got, including the bosses. The bosses will oftentimes require you to switch back and forth between different weapons and stuff to try and beat them, and that I really did enjoy, because it made you feel like they really thought their game through, and it's not just like, well, here's the puzzle in which you get the bow, so everything, including the last boss, you need to use the bow to kill it, for example. This one is really like, well, you get the last boss, obviously he's gonna have to do something with the new item, but also will keep having you reuse items you've used previously to try and beat it, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so game is pretty short, unfortunately, but like I said, like for the price point, it's not too bad. Like it makes sense. Like a, you know, like a $10 game, and you get like about like, I don't know. Let's say you get probably like a 7-hour game out of it. So it's probably going to be like a little bit over $1 per hour of gameplay. In other titles, I would say it's a problem. In this one, not so much, simply because the game was such a cool title. Like in the first place, it was so much fun that I honestly don't mind. You know, having to pay a little bit extra for a shorter game just because the game was so much fun and it was so interesting and so cool. So yeah. So my final opinion: should you buy Reverie Sweet As Edition for the Switch? I would say yes. I would say definitely yes. If you're a fan of Zelda-like RPGs, definitely pick it up. Really cool title. Like I said, it has so many different things and so many stuff you're unused to, but they feel like there's plenty of new stuff, but it also feels familiar because you're used to that kind of gameplay. And it's just like, yeah, I had so much fun with it. Like, there's really nothing else to say. Like, I just had so much fun with it. And I'm almost done with the game also. Like, I'm almost finished it. And I'm gonna, you know, probably like drop in like very soon and just like finish it and just be able to see the ending and stuff. But like the overall experience was worth the money. Like, if I had to, like, I almost want to buy it again just to support the devs and maybe give a copy to Van, because Van, I know Van likes puzzles and she likes Zelda-like titles. She probably would enjoy this. So I might actually end up buying the game again just to give her a copy. So yeah, so it's pretty cool, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys want to see the full the full time that we had with the game, the actual like gameplay stuff that you see behind me, but like with commentary and stuff, that is on YouTube. I'm gonna link under the stream to my my playlist for that game. I'm gonna also link to the publisher and the and also probably a link to where to buy the game if you want to grab it for yourself. And yeah, so I will see you guys on the next looking back video. And until I see you again, stay safe, stay awesome. Bye bye, guys.